Hello and welcome back to the next video in this course. And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at asynchronous programming with the async and await keywords. So what is async and await? An async function is a function declared using the async keyword, and await is used within them. So what that means is that we have to have the two keywords together. As we can see in this example, we declare before the function keyword, we use the async keyword, and then somewhere throughout the function we have to do an await. We have to have the two together. And what we're doing in this function is that to our variable response that we've made, we are loading in a JSON file. And then what we're doing is we are adding this, create another variable later on that using the let keyword again to load the response, the JSON of our response into another variable. So really, you can kind of see we're doing the same thing that we did with promises, but this is in the way I look at it, this is a lot more cleaner. Now, the next video, we'll take a look at the differences between promises and async and await, and then we'll decide which one we're going to use for this course. See you then. Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to be comparing the two asynchronous options that we've looked at so far in JavaScript, the promises versus async and await. So what is the differences between the two? Technically, async and await function is the same thing as a promise. It's just done a lot cleaner. And you can't chain them like you can in the same sense that you do the promise chaining with next and such. Async functions do not have states like promises do either. They either return a success or a failure. There's not the different states again like promises have. Async has a much cleaner error handling that we will look at in the next video. And promises, as you start chaining them, they can really become messy. Again, async and await is just so much easier to use and easier to maintain. So because of that, for the rest of the course, when we do asynchronous programming, it will be using the async and the await function. And in the next video, we will take a look at how we can do error handling for async and await. Hello and welcome back, and I promise you this will be our last theory video that we have. The next video we'll start getting into the code and start writing it. But before we get to that, we have to just look at one more topic, and that is how we will do our error handling with async. And the easiest way that we can do error handling is what's called a try-catch block. Try-catch blocks are statements that they kind of tell the browser, the JavaScript parser, whatever you want to call it, how to handle exceptions when they occur. And let's take a look at what I mean by that. Here, this is a rehash of our function that we looked at in the async and await video. And all I've done is I've added this try and catch to it. And what happens is that we're telling the browser to try to do what we're doing right here. Try to load in this JSON file for us. However, if you can't do it, don't display a massive error to the user. Let's put the error into the console. And then what we could do here is we could put a nice little message to the user, hey, an error has occurred or whatever, instead of just bombarding them with a, just massive error string. So this try catch block really comes in handy with an asynchronous function, because you never know what could happen. The user's internet could go out. There could be some changes to your server that you're not aware of, and you could lose a file, or any number of things could happen. And try catch allows us to handle pretty much anything that we can think of gracefully. So as I said, this is our last theory video. In the next video, we will begin creating our JSON file for the project with all the cards that we're going to use. And then from here on out, we'll be writing some code. See you then.